The melding of science and fiction is a long-standing tradition that ironically enough looks forward. This year there's been a lot of great games, and we've got some good ones coming up too. GameRanks brings you the top 10 sci-fi games of 2016. Number 10, Recore. I'm gonna get this out of the way immediately. I don't care that it's made by Concept. I don't particularly like Concept. It's not great what they did with Mighty No. 9, but after seeing what I've seen of this game so far, I'm incredibly intrigued. And they actually managed to put together a trailer that's emotional, and I cared by the end of it. The game takes place after a colony of people in cryosleep fails, leaving the survivors to deal with a barren wasteland. Fortunately, you have a robot companion, and the people behind the Metroid Prime series are behind this. I mean, as well as Concept. Number 9, XCOM 2, which continues the critically acclaimed turn-based tactics series that drops you into a world where humanity has been defeated by aliens. That's right, the canon story is that XCOM lost. XCOM 2 doesn't change a whole lot regarding the mechanics from Enemy Unknown, but that's not a bad thing, that's a very, very good thing. As far as turn-based tactics goes, you don't get better than XCOM, and XCOM 2 is a continuation of that. It obviously looks better, it's nice and difficult, and something that's really nice is that they've added modding tools. Something that's going to keep you guessing is that the maps are procedurally generated, which is a great way of keeping a turn-based game fresh. As good as the game is, it launched with pretty piss-poor performance on certain computers, but they have patched that issue since then, and it's a definite must-play. Number 8, Titanfall 2 is not out yet, but the lessons that Respawn Entertainment learned about the original Titanfall, you know, the fast mech-based gameplay that worked really well but didn't give us a single-player campaign or really a lot of depth, and purports they're fixing all of that stuff, as well as bringing it to other platforms. It's exciting because the multiplayer semi-campaign modes didn't really offer a single-player experience, and Titanfall 2 looks to bring the original's gameplay, as well as the developers saying that any of the post-release stuff, the maps and modes, are going to be mostly free of charge, which is very good. I'm excited to delve into the Titanfall universe in a manner that's a little bit more in-depth than the original, and hopefully the story knocks it out of the park, at least for what Titanfall is, because the gameplay and Titanfall's fantastic. Number 7, Call of Duty Infinite Warfare. Oh yes, it's a controversial one to include on this list. However, let's be honest, as far as these technological warfare-oriented first-person shooters go, the Call of Duty franchise really does have a good thing going. I enjoy these games. I'm not saying I don't want a more boots-on-the-ground version to come out, but Modern Warfare and Black Ops 3, as far as what they are really good games, particularly Black Ops 3, and I really like the addition of zero-gravity environments and space because I am kind of a space idiot. No matter what, the reaction is going to be split on this game, period, but it should be at least some fun arcade shooting action. Number 6, Destiny Rise of Iron, the fourth of the expansions for Destiny, which has really kind of hit its stride after a very slow start. The expansions have really been a lot better than the core game. It looks like they're finally kind of hitting a high point with the story too, because the Fallen are going to breach the wall around the city and probably invade, which is, you know, one of the better scenarios for a first-person shooter. There's going to be a new zone called the Plaguelands, as well as a new game type in the PvP, and if you're a fan of Destiny, it's probably going to be a must-play, because Destiny 2 is coming next year, and I have a feeling that that means this might be the last of the expansions, and that means some pretty explosive stuff may happen in it. Number 5, Gears of War 4 is going to focus on Marcus's son, and though it's taking place in the same continuity, is also kind of functioning as a reboot. Microsoft acquired the rights to Gears of War, as well as formed an internal studio with some of the people that worked on Gears of War, specifically to continue to make Gears of War. Being it's no longer an epic property, Microsoft does have something to prove here, but the Coalition's handling of the original Gears of War remaster really makes this promising. I'm excited. I hope they make more Gears of War forever and ever. Number 4, No Man's Sky, which is difficult to say anything new about because a lot has already been said. There's been a very large range of expectations for No Man's Sky, and the one that people absolutely agree it meets is the technical one. The game is gorgeous. It gives you a stunning variety of locations and monsters and animals, and presents a game that is bigger in scale than pretty much anything else ever, and also manages to somehow be one of the most stylish games ever created despite being procedurally generated. The thing you have to understand is that it might not be what you expected it to be, but that's not a quality thing. It's just such an open-ended game that does place on you a lot of survival requirements that it may not be what you expected it to be, but it is great. As far as video games go, this game is the achievement that a lot of people thought it would be. Number 3, Headlander. Feels like 70s sci-fi combined with 1980s Metroidvania. It's a really weird game where you're a disembodied head, where you have the challenge of adapting to different bodies, as well as being vulnerable when you're just a head. It is different from a lot of Metroidvanias in that the place you're exploring is actually populated, and that's interesting to me. However, it's a dystopia, so it's obviously strange and not what it seems at any point, and it descends into madness gradually, but it's very pretty, it's very fun, it plays very well. And in a time when there's not very many large-scale productions of this genre of game, it's really nice to see a very good example come out. Double Fine knocked it out of the park. Number 2, Doom, which is probably the best first-person shooter of the year, in my opinion. Doom brings science fiction and horror together to create kind of a futuristic but hellish landscape that drops you into a brutal, fast-paced, tense run-and-gun experience that really harkens back to what made Doom and Doom 2 good, but updates it in a way that it doesn't feel left behind in 2016. This is definitive modern Doom. And finally, number 1, Deus Ex: Mankind Divided. Basically the sci-fi stealth shooter. The appeal of the game is simple. People have robot arms. People have weapons in their robot arms. Go. And although they've generated a lot of controversy in their marketing, it's Deus Ex. If you've played the previous game, you know what you're in for gameplay-wise. If not, imagine a really streamlined third-person stealth shooter with a lot of cool robot powers and a lot of Messiah imagery. The game is promising to be a lot bigger and up the stakes significantly. Really what it comes down to, the last Deus Ex was fantastic, so why wouldn't this one be? And a couple of bonus games for you. First, the third-person time-bending shooter game Quantum Break, which pulls together some of the best handling third-person shooting on any platform, let alone a Microsoft exclusive. Ashes of the Singularity, a 4X strategy game that brings massive scale to Stardock's trademark gameplay. Off-World Trading Company, which is an exploration game on top of a real-time strategy game on top of resource management game. Mirror's Edge Catalyst, which tightens up the controls significantly from the original game and puts you in an open world, which is debatable whether it's good or not, but it retains all the elements that made the original great. Stellaris, another 4X game, this one developed by Paradox. It's still obviously a 4X, but there's a little bit more emphasis on management and diplomacy. And Battlefront Gothic Armada, which gives us a really unique take on the Warhammer 40k universe, with real-time strategy gameplay in a Gothic sector of space. As far as sci-fi, what's the best of 2016 for you? Whether it's out already and you've played it, or it's coming soon, what are you looking forward to? What have you enjoyed the most? Let's meet in the comments and talk about that. If you enjoyed this video, please click the like button, and if you aren't subscribed, now's a great time to do so. We upload brand new videos every day of the week, and the best way to see them first is a subscription. As always, we thank you very much for watching this video. I'm Falcon. You can follow me on Twitter at FalconTheHero, and we'll see you next time right here on GameRanks.